I still have messages from clients like, oh, I'm so glad I got that piece long ago.
It's still kicking.
They didn't know if I was going to fall off the perch or like if I was going to like turn into some nutso artist that could never paint again.
Dun, 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 dun. Danielle 2.0, we're on.
We're on. We are back.
And this one's interesting. I reckon this is going to be literally my favorite conversation so far that we're going to have because, the topic is NFTs and Danielle Weber jumping in and giving it a real hot crack.
Diving straight in.
Which is so cool. I know we touched on it in our last interview, but it was still really early stages, I think, for both of us. Now, I'll just talk on my end. I jumped into cryptocurrencies and NFTs in January, and I got so immersed into it that it completely changed my whole 2021 with how it was going to play out. And then obviously we connected and we started discussing everything. And you were like, yes, and then now you've just like dived in. And this is bloody insane.
And we're still swimming now.
Yes,
we're just swimming.
We're just swimming. So like, I can't wait to just get through this whole conversation because there is so much to talk about in regards to where you see this is going, what you're doing, how you're going to be introducing your little range to the world, and how you see it all playing out, really. So first, before we get into that whole chat, just give it a little bit of a breakdown. I know we introduced you last time, but just maybe a little bit of an introduction about who you are and why we're talking about NFTs right now. How did it all happen?
But so my name's Danielle, obviously. Thank you. 28-year-old Melbourne-based artist. Sort of been on this crazy journey for about 10 years, but essentially my whole life because I've been creating since I was a little kid. Really about not trying to, take over the world with my art, but more so now inspire artists by saying, hey, this is what you can do. Like, we're not, in a cage. You don't just have to paint canvases. You can branch out to merchandise. You can paint murals. You can, sell things on hats. You can sell socks. You can sell whatever you want. So, so that's more so like, I guess my passion is now my purpose. And in turn, like I'm gifting that back to people, just being like, we can do it. Creatives, like, that stigma attached to artists, you're going to be starving, da-da-da-da-da. I've sort of gone through a whirlwind journey to get to where I am now. And I think that's why we're here, because I'm just sort of like, yep, bring it on. Like, we've sort of gone through it all. Like, I'm a yes man, like yes woman, like just say yes to everything and embrace the world that's changing and like ever growing and wild, like to look, sort of down a tunnel at what I think it's going to be in the next few years and the next 10 years. So nuts.
You've got this NFT thing that you're working on, which we are going to touch on. And you've got a few other things that you've been telling me that you're working on, which is bloody insane. So I don't even know how you're balancing it all. Do you sleep or what? I saw you got a shower here. So where's the bed?
Came out of the shower here this morning. No, I do sleep. I'm probably quite highly strung and just a bit go. My family look at me and they're like, you are crazy, but I am better off being busy and have a lot going on and just go. Otherwise, like, I sort of just fall to pieces and wonder what I'm doing on this earth. So just like bring it on, like all at the same time. So
I love it, man. I love it. Well, I've just written something that I actually want to read out. It's pretty much the same thing that I wrote back in April, just changed it a little bit about what are NFTs. Now, NFTs are a one-of-a-kind asset in the digital world that can be bought and sold like any other piece of property, but they have no tangible form of their own. So an example of an NFT could be that would relate to now would be like a Facebook check. So that's really, it's holds some sort of value out in the real world, but you can't really touch it. Like it's not there. Or another example would be like games, like when you play Fortnite and you want to buy some skins. So they're like NFTs.
Like,
and
you see them holding a value. I might not see it as holding a value, but that individual person does. So.
And that's where art comes into play, because art really, what's that artist that just kind of throws paint and his work sells for like millions.
Jackson Pollock?
I think so. Jackson Pollock, yes. So like people look at that and be like, what the hell is going on? Then people are like, it's a masterpiece.
It is, that's $2 million. Yes.
$5 million.
And other people look at it and they're like, what the actual hell? Like, I could have done that. I still look at pieces that I could do that. And then I try to do it and I can't do it. So you go try it too.
So his art is so subjective.
Yeah, it is.
So the best way NFTs are understood, it's like computer files combined with proof of ownership and authenticity like a deed. So it's like a smart contract. So everyone always says like, yeah, but I can just right click and own the JPEG. But it's just like, well, if I just went and took a photo in front of a house or something.
It's mine.
Yeah.
But it's not.
It's not really mine. Like I don't really own it. So yeah, that would be that example. I don't know what else I kind of want to. I'm kind of reading all this and I'm like, I can probably explain it so much better than how I've written it. But regardless, everything's run through. So it's a smart contract. You add it onto your artwork and then you can upload it online. And people are paying for it. People are buying it. And it's been going nuts. Like the last couple months, there's been a complete surge where things have been selling. Beeple sold just like a couple months ago, Beeple sold his piece for 69 million. He's a person that's been in digital art.
That was the compilation of like all of his works put together.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he does a piece every day. I think he did a piece every day for like 10 years. And then he put it all together and sold it for 69 million, which
insane.
Was crazy.
And like who else can say, oh, like I've got literally every piece that they've done. Like,
yeah.
Crazy.
It's insane.
And if you tried to put it in your house, it wouldn't be possible. So there you go.
Literally.
Yeah.
And then you got people that have just jumped into the space and created some art and are selling for millions, like their pieces. There's a person, GHXST, it's like ghosts. Just literally a month or two ago, he sold his first piece for like $3, and now like it was selling for like 2 million, 3 million, which is
nuts,
mind-blowing.
Nuts.
And everyone's like, but what are you buying? Like, we're not
crazy.
getting much.
Yeah.
But it's I think as we keep moving into this digital world, it's people are starting to understand. And that's why, like Danielle, like why did you get into the space? Like, what did you see? Like, why? Where did it all start, really?
So I think where it all started, like I think it was Beeple's. Well, obviously, so I've been into crypto for about 2.5 years now. So I sort of understood, the concept of the blockchain and how crypto worked and sort of making transactions quicker and, watching my investment grow. And it's just like, whoa, I'm not really like doing much here. This is pretty crazy. Like, whoa. Like, and so I didn't dive into it too much, but I sort of tried to like learn a little bit along the way. So when I heard about NFTs, and I guess, that some of the, like Ethereum, I've held that for a long time now. I was like, oh, okay. Like, so that has to do with art. Like, that's interesting. And then I heard Gary Vee speaking about it, and I'd sort of done a little bit of research, and I've seen, other people jumping on and seeing what they're doing and, donating money that they've made from it to charities, and there was a greater purpose to it. And then Beeple, and I was just like, that is insane. Like, what, like, and then I had to get my head around it. I was just like, why? Like, I do physical, like, I paint physical pieces. So it's probably been since March, April that I've started looking into it, and I'm still learning, and I'm going to be forever learning about it. And I'm trying, I guess the hardest thing is explaining it to other people. So, why have I sort of gone down this road? I feel like inevitably this is where we're headed, and I feel like if we don't embrace the digital world, we are going to fall behind. And it's much to like a lot of creatives discuss, because we like doing hands-on things, and we really like just being like, no, I want to paint my piece, like that's it, I don't want to upload it to the blockchain and let someone hold it just as a JPEG. Like, what the hell, why can't you give them the original painting? So but I guess it's exciting. It's new. And I know that this is the way that the world's going to go. Seeing how crypto has evolved, seeing how I've grown learning about it, seeing how I've, made profits and been able to make bigger moves in business thanks to crypto. Crazy. Like, so on that level, I guess, the monetary side of it, that's why I've sort of dived into it. But in turn, like the biggest thing that I'm passionate about is showing, as I mentioned at the start, showing artists like what you can do, how your work can be multi-dimensional. You don't need to be put in a box. You can have a multifaceted art business with prints, merchandise, murals. Okay, sometimes I take on a little bit too much, but I'm just showing that like you can do it. It is possible.
It's another stream.
It is another stream. like whether like physically, like I don't know if my body's going to uphold doing murals for the rest of my life. So this thing is more of a long-term, NFTs is more of a long-term approach. And I know that people see value in it, and whether or not everyone sees value in it, that's totally fine. But we all see value in different things. So, you know, it's exciting. I think it's inspirational for everyone to see how this has sort of shifted, and it's still early. It's early days.
So early.
And I don't want to be one of those people that bagged the internet 25 years ago.
Or social media.
And be like, oh shit, sorry, I should have gotten on earlier. Like, definitely don't want to be that sort of person. So.
Well, it's funny that you say that. Like, I've really just been posting little things online just about NFTs. Nothing too crazy. I haven't really jumped out yet. This is probably like the first big thing that will probably get published about me talking about it, and obviously you talking about it. And something that's really stood out to me is the amount of people messaging me telling me that this is just a fad, and I have to just sit there and like I search like, is the internet a fad, or is social media a fad, and all the articles from back then, and do it, like whoever's listening, actually do it and see the amount of articles that were posted after the big crashes saying, oh, it's just a fad, it's not going to work, or if social media, oh, it's not going to take off. Like, who wants to listen to anything on YouTube?
Bitcoin when it first came about. It's just a fad. I'm sorry, like market value, what's it, $1 trillion, like cryptocurrency? Like, that's not a fad.
Yeah, but people are still calling it a fad.
I know. I'm like, what more do you need?
So that's why it's great that we're still so early. And what's amazing that's going on with art, it's actually, NFTs with art is it's actually given the power to the creators to be paid what they're worth. And the market now will go and tell them what it's worth. And the greatest thing is when you launch your collection, which we will talk about, and you sell it, for example, it sells for X dollars, but then in a week, if it resells... Royalties. Which is insane to think about.
It's crazy.
And the way royalties work, for example, is you'll sell your piece, and you'll obviously get paid for it in full. But then when things on sale, you can put the contract where you can say, okay, I want 10% of everything that's on sales. So if you've got all these pieces out in the ecosystem, and because you're going to become the GOAT in digital art, and your piece is going to be worth like $500 a pop, and they're just going to be selling all the time. Man, you're going to be making so much money just relaxing and living the dream.
Who knows? We don't know. Do you want to miss out though?
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
No.
So I think that's crazy. And a lot of you did say yes, and that what we both touched on at the start was a lot of people are like, oh, but I can't touch it, or I can't anything. You know what? There's companies, just search like digital frames for NFTs. They are so cool. They're like these digital frames that hang up. I'm going to buy some to get them all around my house and just put my NFTs in there.
Think about TVs though. They've been like displaying art for a long time. Like it's
correct.
Yeah.
It's the exact same concept. So, which is amazing. We're learning all the time, and it's bloody hard. Like, what do you feel like your biggest learnings have been, or because I kind of feel like once you jump down that rabbit hole, you can't get out.
And it's just and then you think you grasp it, and then someone says something else, and you're like, I didn't know that. Cool. Like back to square one. So
pretty much.
I think the biggest challenge in all this is explaining it to other people. It makes sense in my head. I believe in it. I've been rolling with it, but trying to explain, because valuing something is an emotional, like it's an emotion. So trying to explain to someone that like perhaps values things differently is really, really hard. So I think the more that, people start talking about it and becomes normalized, then it'll get easier. But, it's because the same, like I don't buy designer things. Like someone who values a designer bag, I don't. Like it's not, for me, it's much, it's one of those things. So that's probably the biggest challenge of it. But the other side, like learning about it, exciting. Like just realizing that you have so much more to learn, even more exciting because it's growth. Yeah, like and I think, like it's just crazy.
I feel like a big learning lesson that we're both going through at the moment, and we're talking about it like all the time. Like I'll call you and be like, Danielle, I don't know which blockchain to use. Like, we're just sitting there like, do we go on Ethereum?
Which marketplace do we use?
Yes. Like, is it the Ethereum network? Is it the Binance Smart Chain? I'm looking into Wax at the moment. Like, which one do we go down?
Bitsky.
Yeah, like there's so many that we're trying to break down, and it's so hard to get your head around everything because, you know, there's so many positives and negatives on each platform. And, you know, currently with the Ethereum network, the issue is the gas fees.
Yeah.
So
and the energy consumption as well.
Yeah, correct.
And this is something that we're taking into consideration too. It's not as if we're diving in.
100%. And there's so much to weigh up. And, you know, the issues are like when you've got, you know, when you've got people that are just to even mint an NFT or buy or put in a bid and buy an NFT on OpenSea, the gas fees, I think at the moment, I was looking this morning, they're like $250 just to buy something, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like 400 Australian dollars.
Yeah.
And sometimes that gas fee
outweighs the value of the actual.
But it doesn't even go through.
No.
So the transaction doesn't go through because the networks are clogged or for whatever reason. So you actually lose your money.
Yeah.
And you don't get anything, and it just cancels. So
that's hard. Yeah.
Yes,
I think that's a thing though, or the beauty of something new too, because it is unknown. Everyone's battling at the same time too. They're like, what are we doing? Oh shit, we just lost another $400. Cool.
Yeah,
like, sure, that happened to a million other people today.
Yeah, pretty much. It's funny. One of my Instagram followers the other day, he's like, hey, just here's a link. You can actually put your wallet in and see how much gas that you've actually spent.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I did it. I was like, wow, that is actually really bad.
That's
really
crazy.
Bad that it costs this much money and it's insane. But what's also really interesting with NFTs is this community that you have to build.
Yeah.
You know, because we've seen celebrities come into the space that have been treating it like an absolute cash grab, and they haven't sold out. Celebrities with millions of followers that are well known. One example is John Cena. You can actually search him up. He came out and released that he only sold 37 NFTs, and they were priced at $1,000 each. John Cena only sold 37.
John Cena, guys.
Like,
I'll just be leaving right
now. Like crazy.
Yeah,
so, and the reasons for that is it just seems like everyone's looking at this as like, oh, it's a cash grab. Like we can just make quick money. And we've been having a lot of these discussions, Danielle, that it's like, it can't. It doesn't work. Like people smell your bullshit from a mile away.
And definitely. And I finished my first piece of my first collection. What was that, 4 or 5 months ago?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm a big believer in like I don't like speaking up until I actually know what I'm doing, and I'm still learning. But I think like now I'm getting to a point where like, okay, I'm ready, and like we're sort of navigating. I'm not just like, oh, see the dollar signs, launch it. So like I've wanted to, like I've had my ideas and I've wanted to launch for a while now, but it's just like it's crazy, like and that's what's been amazing. I think with you've been able to build such a strong community. Like if you have a look at just every time you're posting something or all these the amount of value that you're giving back to the people is insane. You were showing me your Facebook group the other day. It's mental. All the lives you're doing, you're just trying to provide as much value as possible. And this is a long game. This is a long game that you're playing. And you know, I know we're in the process where we're starting to create you a Discord and all that stuff. When you first started, I'm like, what is a Discord? I'm like, got off the phone. I'm like, what is a Discord? And I was like, it's like a community. Same. I'm like, cool, let's start another one. Like, it's just like, it's so funny.
And you got to pull everyone into the Discord, and I think it's fun. Like I've been jumping in and just having a look at everyone. It's really good. Like the Gary V is an absolute trooper. It's really nice
to see how like people have like jumped on board, and like even because I've been watching conversations in Discord too, and it's fun and it's educational, and it's like like I'd much prefer to spend my time in a community where everyone's like there for the same reason, and like everyone's like lifting each other up and random chats and and I just think like there's a lot going on in the world at the moment. I'd much prefer to be in a community like that rather than, you know, consuming stuff that's not going to make you grow. It's not going to make you a better person. It's not going to,
100%. It's amazing that you've said that. Like for me, I haven't really been spending a lot of time on Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. I've been spending a lot of my time in Discord and Twitter because of that reason. I feel like what's been happening is, well, there's that flex culture where you go on Instagram and everyone's just trying to show each other what everyone's got.
Yeah.
And then you jump into Discord and Twitter where you've still got, well, I want to touch on the NFT side of flexing, which you kind of touched on, and then we lost it. But yeah, you jump into these communities and everyone's trying to help each other out. Like there's in V Friends, he's got a crypto chat or an NFT chat or just general chats or even just programmers chats where everyone is just asking each other questions and just trying to build each other. Yes. The crypto market and the NFT market is the Wild West, where there's scams going along all the time, and that's just what you're going to get. A lot of people, unfortunately,
that's everywhere, though. Yeah,
it is everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's just it just makes my heart warm. Like I'm just sitting on Twitter, just watching everybody help each other out, and you can't go wrong. But with art, have you been jumping into Twitter and like having a look at how like NFT projects, a lot of people flex with their profile photos.
Yes.
So like if you own like a Bored Ape or if you own like a Crypto Punk.
I got this.
Yeah. Everyone's like flexing with their profile pictures. So how I feel like what's happening in the world of NFTs and how it's all going to play out is Mark Cuban. He's built like an NFT wallet social media system that like you can search his name and you can see exactly what he owns, what NFT he owns. And I feel
transparency.
Transparency, the blockchain, you can't lie.
Visibility.
Visibility absolutely shows everything.
Yeah.
But also I feel like that's becoming like the new flex, and you get to really understand a person with what they own.
And that's really not been done before. Like,
no, never.
Not so easily accessible as well. And like you've got the history of, from the artist to all of the offers made to this
everything,
who it's been sold onto. Sorry, but like that's crazy. And like I was even thinking about that. For me, that's value in itself, because I like have sold originals and I have no idea where they've ended up. No idea. There's no way for me to trace that. I don't know what they've been resold for. I don't know if they've been destroyed. Whereas with this, you literally can see the history of that digital asset. So it's crazy.
It's mental to think. Like even as well, like for example, big, like I don't know, just big celebrities just to jump into their wallets. Like you can see like Gary V, what he owns and what he's buying and what he's trading. And even like if you had, it's crazy. Like you jump on Etherscan, that's like the Ethereum like blockchain, like where all the records are kept. And you can actually, like, for example, if you had my wallet address, you can see all the money I have, like everything or what I've got in there, what NFTs I own. Like, it's just mental how it's just so, everything's just so, like, it's public, but it's so private because our keys are so long. But unless, unless you name your name on OpenSea, like Gary V, then you'll just find it. But
nuts.
Yeah, it's like what's the goal with like the community that you want to build? What's been your vision the whole time? Like you've been spending how long? Close to 10 years building this community.
Yeah.
What have you been thinking? How you've been building it, and like how are you looking to take that into the next phase?
Yeah. So I think it's funny because I never really, you just go about your daily life sort of thinking like, I'm just doing what I'm doing, and then you never really realize until I started getting questions. Like I've always gotten a lot of questions, but you start getting questions and people want to know how to do things. And it's just like, okay, there's actually like people that care about what I'm doing. And maybe it's a thing. So, I started this community just for artists and just seeing like how it's grown and how it's actually helped people and getting the messages. And even when I respond to people on social media, so I was like, oh, that's cool. So seeing the impact that has had, and then now knowing that there's another dimension that I can sort of like create another little warm family and community, like that is so exciting, and that's another path in itself. So yeah, I think I just want to, I know it's going to be different, and I know it's going to be learning for me too. And I think that's where people in business, sometimes they're like, oh yep, done it all, like I'm all good. Whereas I know I'll never get to that stage. I'm like, strip it right back. And this is what these new things do. They strip everyone back and you're all on the same level, learning, moving forward. And And yeah, creating another safe place for people to share ideas and ask questions and learn more about the space, so we can all grow together. It's better with more people, more the merrier. So yeah, so that's exciting, like especially with the Discord and watching other platforms really adapt and like and I guess like it's more so apparent on like Twitter and things like that as well. So, and I have never really been into Twitter that much, so it's forced me to sort of jump in there as well and like just like, oh, who's that person replying to me? Like, I don't actually know. So yeah, it's just constant learning, and I think if you're not open to that, you lose out on a lot of like exciting things. So and then in saying that, it's really a lot of the time I don't get time to work on my own things. I'm constantly working with clients, and I think it's really forced me to have a lot of fun with these collections, tell my story, keep, staying true to, so it's not as if I'm trying to like reinvent the wheel and change what I'm doing. I'm staying true to what I've always done, and that's tell people stories. That's, honor people who have incredible journeys, change mindsets perhaps. My first collection's about superheroes and villains. Like I might perceive someone as a superhero and other people perceive them as a villain. Why? Why do they see them as a villain? Why do I see them as a superhero? Flip that mindset and honor these stories and honor these people for who they are. So there's so many levels to this, and I think that's what's been most fun is like just stripping myself back and like, what do I want to communicate here? What community do I want to build? What sort of people do I want to sort of jump on board with this? Who do I want to like to have a potentially like a digital asset forever? I don't know where these originals, they could disappear. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I know like this is like, oh, do they want to sell it in a couple of weeks? Fun. The best thing that you said was literally just like learning by just jumping in and really just getting your hands getting them dirty. Yeah, just getting in there. Anyway, but just getting in there and just figuring it out. Like, even I've been in this space since January. I'm learning every day. I'm going down these bloody rabbit holes and just really every day there's just something new that's just coming up. Like today, like before we jumped on, I told you I was freaking out. I'm freaking about everything. I was speaking to Mike a couple of days ago. He was telling me, he was freaking out. I'm like, don't stress, it's all good. Don't stress.
Now he's bloody. I don't
Comes
know if he's
in waves. Ride the wave.
I don't know if he's still freaking out, but bloody, I'm sitting here
looks
like,
all right, so it's all good.
So and that's literally what it is. Just jumping in and you'll figure it out. How. Like, what would your... I know you're still really early, but like, what would your advice be to artists that have probably listened to this, and like, oh, NFTs, I'll look into it, or oh, I've heard it a few times, and here we are listening to this again, and like this might be the kick that... I'm getting excited. Maybe like that. Maybe
the one thing you were told not to do.
One thing not to do. Don't smash the mic. Sorry, Tuzi. What would you be telling them? Especially, is it just dive in?
Yeah. I think
just dive. We just talked about that for 2 minutes.
I get the too hard basket, and you could probably relate to me that in business you wake up most days and think, oh my God, why am I doing this? Like, why do I stress myself out? Why am I doing this? But you still ride the wave, and you know that there's like it's for a better or for a bigger purpose. So I think I would say the biggest thing in my research that I've done and the fact that I've taken so much time is to stay true to yourself and your art form. Don't try and look what else other people are doing and then try to like just, do what you think is going to work. Like, do what you believe in. And I sort of stripped back to the roots of where I began, and that was storytelling and painting portraits of people and who I can connect to and tell their story. And I've taken a little bit more of a humorous approach as well. So I've found that really, really fun. So you got to enjoy the process. Like if you have again, I say it again, like I think because I was sort of into crypto, that was a little bit of like a walkway for me to just sort of stroll into it. I had absolutely no reason not to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if you're curious about it, educate yourself as much as possible. Put like all the hours you have to put into your craft, like you've got to put hours into this. You can't just stroll in and just treat it as a cash grab. This is a long-term sort of thing, and just, that's probably
No, bloody oath. There's even, like you said, everyone's just kind of looking and just launching projects. So there's the Bored Ape Yacht Club. That's probably, so them and the crypto
that
punks.
Is like
Yeah, like they're just flying. They've gone nuts. But what's happened from that is there's all these all these other NFT projects. There's 30, 40 a day getting released that are copying kind of what they've done, and it's just a cash grab where they'll sell 10,000, so that's the set, and then they will sell them. They'll sell them, and they'll probably make 3 million a drop, which is mental.
That's crazy.
Mental. And what they're doing is they're just like launching a project, hyping it. There'd be like 50,000 people in the Discord or 20,000 that would buy the hype, and then the team would just leave the next day.
And it's like,
yeah,
where's the community?
Correct.
Where's my family gone?
Correct, gone.
Yeah,
and they'll leave. Or like there's NFT communities that are like just doing shady things again with their people, and they just get shut down really quickly. So it's people need to also understand that on an investment side of things, 98% of these are going to zero. Like in 2000 when the internet bubble crashed and Amazon went all the way down to $5.
Yep.
That's going to happen in this NFT game as well. But the strong communities, the strong projects, they're going to hang around because they're so they're so involved in the community. So always just be trying to just think about your people, think about the people.
Yeah, I think Gary Vee is a classic example of that.
Amazing example.
He has a lot going on. He thinks about his people. He does when he does things, he does it well. And I think he's the one that says like 90, and he knows, he's well aware that 98% of these will flop.
100%.
And but I truly believe in a lot of what he says.
He's a gun.
That's another. Just jump on Gary Vee.
Yeah, I think if anyone's listening to this, just type in NFT Gary Vee, and there's probably 20 videos. Yeah. 20 videos, probably even more.
And I watch them over and over again.
Yes, you have to.
You have to.
You have to. And like even with what he's doing with his project, like when even he launched, I remember he came into the space.
How good are his drawings though?
Well, he's actually been copying black. Like
really?
everyone,
I love him.
Nah, everyone hates him. Like, oh, you doodled, and now you're selling these for ridiculous amounts of money. But what people don't understand about what he's done and what NFTs are, if you pick the right project, is you're literally buying Bart Simpson before Bart Simpson becomes Bart Simpson.
Yeah.
So like 20 years before Bart Simpson's this character, that's what you're buying.
Yep.
And if you get it right and you back the person, then you're on. Like I know Gary Vee is going to be turning his characters, all these characters that he's got, they're going to be on cereal boxes. They're going to be movies. Yeah. They're going to be everything. And the best thing about what NFTs do, and I know he's going to do this, is when he launches his, when he turns, so I think he loves his empathy elephant, which it's the empathy elephant. And there's another one that he loves. There is two. He's going to try to turn them into like Woody and Buzz Lightyear and Bart and whatever that is. But the greatest thing is, when he actually launches a movie out of it, the NFT holders, because through the smart contract, they're going to be getting percentages. Well, they're going to own it, which if you own Bart Simpson now, I wouldn't want to know what that's worth. Like if you own original Bart Simpson, that's probably worth 20 mil, 30 mil, I would probably say.
I wouldn't even.
Yeah. But the greatest thing is, if it goes to a box office movie and it's a hit, he's going to be giving literally a percentage of the box office money to his owners.
Yep.
Which is crazy that NFTs can do this.
Nuts.
You've got
the opportunities endless.
You've got Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher. They've launched a project.
Yep.
Now everyone's looking at it. Oh, Hollywood's a cash. It hasn't even done that well, but I think, not financial advice, but I think it's a pretty cool project. In the sense because what they're doing is they're building a production company around. They're called Stoner Cats, and what they're doing is they're trying to get rid of Netflix, and they're trying to get rid of
big corporations.
Yeah, the corporations and
the middlemen.
No middlemen. That is what NFTs and smart contracts are doing, getting rid of all the middlemen in every single industry.
And on that note, and it's like literally in line with what I've always done. I've never gone to a gallery. I've never had like an art dealer. So I've literally always cut out the middlemen anyway. So it's just literally just continuing it in another form, in different form.
Yes, and the best part, even with your art, is like if you wanted to. So if you wanted to go to the National Gallery of Victoria, or if you wanted to go to a gallery, it's their views. Oh, we don't like your work. So we're not going
it's
to
too
show
commercial.
it. Yeah, it's whatever it is.
You've taken that image from that image and that inspiration from that
Correct.
image. Nope.
Correct. And they tell you no.
Yeah.
But now, through NFTs, the internet will tell you no. And it's an online gallery that's open 24/7.
Yeah.
You want to go buy Danielle Weber?
All around the world can see it. You're not just taking one piece for 10 people to see it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Now, let's get into your drop. Now, I don't know how you just talk about how much you want to tell. If you want to tell it all, I think we should tell it all.
I think we should tell it
all. By the time we release this, I'm pretty sure it'll be ready to go. So
we can.
Talk
all collections or no?
Just whatever you feel, just run it.
Nuts.
Run it. Just tell people. I think even if you just want to talk about your first drop, and then just give a background of what they are, because every piece has an amazing story behind it, which is so cool. When I was going to start talking about it, but I'm going to let you talk about it. So.
You're like,
Like, shut up, Christian. It's not your art.
So this is super exciting for me because like a lot of the time I am working with clients and you know, as much as I am fortunate to get a lot of creative freedom, these collections are me. They're what I wanted to do. I've had so much fun with it. And it's me connecting some dots and telling my story as well. So my first piece that I'd done was of Elon Musk, and I'm so intrigued by what he has achieved, his mannerisms, the way he goes about things, just
everything.
Insane.
It's mental.
And the biggest thing he says is that you can be an ordinary person but live an extraordinary life. And I truly believe that because like me just like, you know, listening to Picasso and watching what he did as well, he said, Picasso said, oh, like I knew how to paint at like 17. It's like, what can I do now? Like, do you know what I mean? And then he spent his life gifting art and gifting other things to people. And so I truly believe that you can be an ordinary person and live a crazy life. Like you can be whatever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do. So I have created a collection, and as I mentioned before, superheroes and villains. And I feel like it's like I could go so deep into it, but we'll just touch on each piece roughly, and everyone can make their own interpretation of it. So Elon Musk, I guess, honored him in an Iron Man suit. I've got like a full in-depth write-up of what it means to me and how it communicates. But superhero in my eyes, villain in some other people's eyes, and you know, the stories of like a lot of people don't agree with what he's doing. So, and it comes down to, and it relates back to how people value things and what people think is important. Some people don't think are important. So deeper meaning, you know, we can go into the superheroes too, but I think everyone can sort of pair those as well. So, and then from that, I sort of thought, okay, well, being a female artist in a male dominant industry, I really want to communicate that in itself is extraordinary, I feel. So I did a lot of research into sort of who had tapped into the space and was quite inspired by Kate Moss. I've always known of her and her journey anyway, but she released something called Sleep with Kate. So obviously it had a deeper meaning to it, and she, long story short, donated some of those funds from the what she'd made from that drop to a charity empowering females. So in my journey, I have come across a lot of what some people would say unfortunate situations where males are, you know, saying I can get you here and get you there and do this for you and do this for you, when really they had an ulterior motive, and it's quite disappointing because you think, oh, they see something in me, and then they just try to get in your pants. So full stop. Let's just leave it at that. So I feel like Kate Moss, she was obviously in the media from a very, very young age. She did a topless shoot at 16 or 17 years old. Back then, I feel like she would have been saying, oh, if you do this, you're going to get there. And if you do this, you're going to get there. How can you even make those decisions at that age? And she was obviously publicly slammed for a lot of things like drugs, alcohol. Hard. Really, really hard. Like and a lot of the similarities, trying to wrap it up, there's a obviously a lot that I can explain.
You're going
and
deep
go
on this
into.
one.
Yeah. I'm trying to give an overview. But in my head, I've immortalized her as Superwoman. And that's how I have told my story through her, and I guess honoured her like that as well. So it's interesting because people, again, would see her as a villain. Like, you be doing drugs, alcohol, you're a bad influence on women. And I see that she's come out. She leads a healthy lifestyle now. She's come out at the other end of it. That's her story. I've been through similar things. So anyways, yeah. So that's, these are really not like short explanations, are they?
Well, that one was decent. Elon, I reckon we could have elaborated a little bit harder, but we kept it there. But the third one, I'm really interested to hear about.
Okay.
Because I think that's the one I think I'm going to be bloody bidding
Another
on.
positive about this space is I have to learn how to communicate what's going on in my head. And it's actually really hard because I do something, I'm like, oh, yep. And then when I have to try to explain, because most people look at me like, what were you on when you thought of that? And like, then I have to explain it. And it's like, whoa, that's like, this is hard. And I'm not getting like, because especially like stories that are like, I've never spoken about before. And now these pieces have triggered them. And it's like, whoa, okay, jitters. Anyways.
It's good to know what the artist is thinking though.
I know, crazy. Okay, so third part to the collection, I've decided to go with 3. To lighten things up a little bit, I love Gary Vee. I know that there's like probably a 50-50 like hate love, like that a lot of people don't like him, a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I just think with anything in life, like you got to take the positives and take what you want to take from it, and then like leave everything else behind. You don't need that energy. Like you just put that in your back pocket or take it to the tip and dump it in. Like so. You know, you can use it as tools. So I just find him super inspirational. Like the fact that he was like, 30 and he basically started
Again.
and started
off
like
nothing.
And it's just like, everyone's like, oh, it's too late. It is not too late. It is not too late. And he's living proof that just someone who like knows what they want, hustle, doesn't give a flying fuck, swears, like slightly obnoxious, and I just love it.
Yeah, I love it.
Because like I'm always obnoxious, and I'm like, okay, pull it back. Obnoxious, pull it back. Like so, I've like got this little fighting thing in my head, whereas he just doesn't. And so I just wanted to paint him in a humorous light and sort of honor like the fact that it's like you're a fucking legend.
He is.
And I don't watch a lot of movies, but I love Deadpool. I'm just like, you are so not right sometimes, like psychotic, sadistic, like like that person died, and I just feel like him and Gary just had to go together, just to like just that I don't give a crap.
I think
like
Gary
humorous.
Yeah, Gary doesn't really like superheroes either, so I think it's a good mix.
And when I did the research on it, I'm like, he literally doesn't like superheroes.
Yeah.
I know he likes wrestling, like I know he likes those things. I'm like, don't want to tap into that yet. And I'm like, Deadpool's just like the perfect, because he takes piss out of superheroes. Like, it's literally, So, and then obviously I've got some of his branding and everything that will go into it too, just to be like, here he is. Yeah. Have a lol. Have a pink backpack on. Touching my ass. Like it's So
I think it's just you touched on like half of people hate him or love him. I think it's more the fact because he's just his energy levels like
people can't keep up.
And he's like screaming. Like there's so many mocks.
Listen to me.
Yeah. Like there's so many mocks of him on TikTok, and I'm just laughing. And I'm just like, this is really funny. And when I listen to it, I'm like, shit. Yeah. But it's, I think people just need to like go under the surface with him. And he's really interesting. We touched on the last podcast. Like he's like the guy that like, I'm like, he's my aim on like why I created this, to get him on, and we'll get there. So that's why I'm definitely bidding on it.
You'll get him on your podcast.
Yeah, we'll get him. But
I see it. Yeah. I put it out into the universe. I think we put it out into the universe last
did.
time.
We put it out.
So
we're putting it out again.
Putting it out. Yeah.
And so whoever's bidding on that one, they're gonna have a tough time, because I'm gonna go hard on that one.
Oh, watch out.
Yeah, I was
Game
gonna go.
on.
I was gonna go for Elon, and I'm like, oh well, we'll go for the other one. Yeah. So we'll see how that turns out, which is gonna be fun. What was fun about? Well, you're still putting them together, but like, what's been fun about it? Has it just been the whole journey, or like, what's been good about it?
I think the whole journey, because I'm learning.
Even the challenges as
yeah,
well.
of course.
Give me both.
I think there's always that element of fear that everyone like everyone holds it. Everyone's scared of something. And in business, I wake up every day. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what am I actually doing? So that's always a challenge. Like, what are you thinking? Do people going to look at that and think like you're absolutely nuts? Like, of course, like you battle yourself every day. So that's always a challenge. And it's just like, then I just have to talk to myself, have a little conversation. Hey, Danielle, how you going today? Like, don't worry. What you're doing is okay. Like, even if it doesn't work, like, that's fine too.
It's a learning lesson.
Like, failure is growth. Everything is growth. Like, so that's a challenge. But in terms of like navigating everything else, like I've just sort of embraced it. I haven't really seen it as a challenge. It's like, oh, well, didn't know that one. We'll make myself look like an idiot on that one, whatever. So, but on a positive note, like I've literally just really enjoyed having a good crack and just like researching and learning and having those days where I'm like, oh God, this is shit. Oh no, that's good. That's good. No, that's shit. Oh yeah, no, that's good too. Like, so just the roller coaster of it, embrace the whole process and learning about people's stories more than what I thought. I'm like, I know Gary Vee, and then you dive into it a little bit more. You're like, shit, didn't know Gary Vee.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
He's got his own little persona and stuff going on anyway, and then everything underneath it's
crazy.
Like,
and then through that, like that's inspiring. So it's just so many levels to it. So yeah.
It's crazy. And what do you hope to achieve? Like by entering this space, I know we've clearly stated here, like we're playing long game. Like, we want you to achieve. Like just for myself, the only reason why I had these conversations with you to throw you in is even as well. It's like, because I know that you can be crazy in this space in a sense and be really big and be just really get yourself out there and just express yourself, because I think your work's amazing. But for yourself personally, like, what do you want to achieve?
I think, there's like an element of like just doing something different and like you'd be like, oh cool, like something I never thought I would ever do, doing that. And then also just I get back to what I said before, like just showing artists like, hey, I had no idea what I was doing here. I made it happen. I did it. It's another dimension to my business. It's just being like, you can do it.
Yeah,
you can do it. It's
dive.
like really just that ripple effect of like, you can make something of this. And I think that's the problem. Like everyone just looks at someone's journey and they think, oh, like that, they just got there like that. Or yeah, no, but she knew about this before. And it's like, everyone starts somewhere. Everyone's got to like take those steps as well. So, I think long-term game for me, I think in turn, if it is successful, amazing, and it might give me more time to create what I want to create, which I know I've sacrificed for the last 10 years doing what everyone else wants me to paint and just sort of like turning the wheel just to get to a certain stage. So whether that freedom comes in 20 years or 30 years, I don't mind. Whatever it's supposed to be, it will be.
I think this is, if I'm looking around, I think this is your freedom. Like this, like I'm just looking, like I think it's not 10, 20, it's here now.
More freedom. No.
Yeah, more freedom. I think it's here now, and it's crazy. Like, I don't know if the cameras are going to see these other drops. I don't know if they can see everything in the background, but like just your other work and what's coming is just, it's incredible. And this is you expressing yourself, which is amazing.
It's fun. It's sometimes deep, but for the most part, it's fun. And just like, I want people to feel something. That's the biggest thing with creatives and in what I do. It's just like, you want someone to feel something on the other end. You want them to have it like, whether everyone's reaction is going to be different, everyone's interpretation is going to be, as long as they feel something, that's cool. My job's done. Yeah.
That's not bad. And even where do you see the NFT world? How's it playing out?
Look, I believe in it. So I see this as the start of something insane. I think it's here to stay. I believe that people will see the benefits of it, like the royalties, like the smart contracts, like getting rid of the middleman, and artists will see that they have that control. You can do it. You can, you've got that control back. Yeah. Run with it. So whether or not it takes longer than what we think or what we anticipate, I do believe it is making the digital world is fast. The world's getting quicker. People want things instantly. And, like I mentioned earlier, have done paintings for the biggest corporations in the world, and they've sent me a check in the mail.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like, and then I have to go bank the check, and then the bank and the check didn't work, and it's just like, are we really like in 2020 and I can't 2021 and I can't even like get paid for a job instantly?
Crazy.
It's crazy. So I think for everyone, it's making you have to keep up with these things because this is the way the world's going.
Yeah.
And I don't want to fall behind.
No,
so
100%. 100%.
it's, you know.
I think people should just really look into the smart contracts and what their powers do. I know I mentioned a few things, with what Gravias probably going to do with his art or Stoner Cats, how they're going to turn it into production. But even further to everyday life, like if you have a look
businesses.
Have you got on your phone the tap where you the right click and then you go tap on your card?
I don't have it set up.
Okay,
yet.
so I've got it set up. I don't have my phone on me, but that's an NFT.
Yeah.
So really, you tap it, there's your card, and so we're kind of already using it. And where it's going to go further is
probably
even
because I got a Samsung, so it's not really.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Well, even like for example, like the blockchain, people are going to start putting their marriage certificates and stuff on the blockchain. I see real estate. The way I envision real estate NFTs, every property, I'm looking at every property is an NFT.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy about if once blockchain technology even comes into real estate, imagine, so the house, you buy a house.
Yep.
And then you sell your house on the blockchain.
Yep.
And you put a 2% royalty on the house.
So the unselling of your house?
The unselling of your house.
Well, you wouldn't have those plans if it wasn't for me, so pay them.
Correct, 100%. So people that have built homes, they could be like, you know what? Like, even
and they
like,
still own a little bit of that.
Well, let's use Oski for an example. He builds his development.
Yeah.
He sells it all on the blockchain. 2% fee on everything, and every time they resell. It's crazy.
Amazing.
It's amazing. So you're always on selling. And every industry.
And it's all transparent.
Everything's transparent.
Buyers are going in knowing that
Everything.
this is the case. There's no hidden, and that's the thing, because business is hard. There's not transparency there. Whereas this is doing deals, middleman gone,
literally
1-to-1. You've got the transparency there. You know what you're in for. You know what you're sort of like. If you do on sell it, that's a royalty going to that.
Correct, 100%, and everything's just easy. There's no dodgy deals. Like even for example, like let's use the trades industry. The issues that they have is that they don't get paid a lot, and through I don't know. You've got to get specific, and I don't know if someone once ran with this idea and made it a thing. It's probably $1 billion industry. But what you could do is through a smart contract, you could freeze money up. Mm-hmm. The tradesman does the work. Once they both agree that the work's done, the money gets dispersed. So the person that puts the money up, well, it's being held there already. So a lot of the time they don't get paid. So there's just so many things. There's so many things that this industry is disrupting, and people just got to dive in, spend 20 and 50 hours. It's funny, you sent me a photo yesterday. You're like, I'm putting in my hours, and I'm like,
doing my homework.
Yes, and I sent you one back. I'm like, same.
Good student.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like even just like put in those hours, because there's so much to learn, and
it is.
It's so mind blowing, and it's bloody crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. It's exciting. It's crazy. It's
mental. Have you been? Is there anyone in the space that you've been following yourself that like you're just like shit? They're doing crazy work.
Yeah, similar to like art. I try not to like follow artists religiously because I really want to just do my own thing, and I don't want to be like bouncing or taking ideas. And I feel like subconsciously you can do that.
Fair.
So I haven't been like following anyone like super closely, but obviously I think what Lush has done is like amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing. Just like super smart. Like the way that he sort of, but quite political and everything as well. And like, I love that. I respect that. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
You need some serious backbone to do it as well. So, mad respect. And then Jyoti, she's a friend of mine in Canada. I've been watching what she's done. She actually shared the story.
Is that the
today.
lady that you sent me? Like how she's
the Jewel Soul.
Yeah.
She actually shared the story today. So shout out to so her NFT platform is Jewel Souls, and her house burnt down 3 months ago, and there was fear instilled in her in creating actual physical forms of artwork. So that really sort of just said, nah, this is it. Like we're diving right into the NFT sphere.
Wow, okay.
Crazy. So she's like a phoenix from the ashes. Like she rose and so yeah, shout out, because like mad respect, crazy, like all of her.
That's insane.
Yeah. So, and that's that was a realization for me in itself, because it's just like, physical things, like what are they?
Yeah.
Like and you know what I mean? So it's just like we have so much emotional attachment to these physical things, when really a digital asset is just the same, and it's going to have more longevity anyway. So
100%.
yeah, so
the blue check on Instagram.
What is it? And that's what Gary Vee says. Like, I don't walk around with it on my head. It's what people interpret it as. Like,
100%.
Does it hold value? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, he goes, people like spend like
they bow down to people
who've
got a blue tick.
Yeah, like, and it's just like, but what is it?
It's nothing.
Can you see it?
You can't even.
Like, what is it? Yeah. So it's just like wrapping your head around it and being like, oh yeah, like that actually does make sense. Like it does. So, yeah. So, and then obviously like just watching like Bored Apes and stuff like that. It's so cool. I've been watching like a little like the 3D animation as well.
Yeah,
like, sushi
people
spinning around and
they've been creating and now they're creating merchandise from it and things like that. Like it's mental.
It's so cool. And then was it Uniquely? Like it's a T-shirt that bridged the gap between the physical piece of something, and then so like people are doing it differently everywhere, and I really
There's some shoe brand that like released the NFTs, and like once you own, I don't know, they haven't really released what they're doing, but like you own the NFTs and like then they can turn into physical shoes or something, and you're just part of this community, and it's just nuts. There's so many, like even on
Eminem.
I think he's
Steve Aoki.
Steve Aoki, they're all in. Like even to an extent, like people just have an opportunity to invest in young up and coming artists that they believe, like gambling, they believe. Like if someone gambled on a Banksy 20 years ago, then that's paid off for them now. Yeah. So it's the same.
Well, people would have taken that same punt for me like years ago too.
Correct.
Like I'm giving them something to paint. Like, is she gonna F this up really? Yeah. Like, and then now like I still have messages from clients like, oh, I'm so glad I got that piece long ago.
It's still kicking.
They didn't know if I was gonna fall off the perch or like if I was gonna like turn into some nutso artist that could never paint again. Like it's
100%.
So crazy.
It's nuts, and obviously Christie's and Sotheby's they've been taking on digital art, and that's just, it's opening up a whole new realm. If they're selling digital art, then it's kind of becoming real.
It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's still so small. I think there's only like 100,000 OpenSea users, and that's the biggest platform. So
crazy.
We're so early, but Danielle, thank you so much for saying this was amazing.
Such good chats. Always.
I hope we gave a lot of value, which I think we did. I think
hopefully in a roundabout way, people have more of an understanding as well, without it being like, if we knew that saying this is what it is was going to work and people would understand it, like I'd be like, okay, repeat after me. This is what an NFT is. But I think explaining it in this kind of context is definitely an easier way to sort of start to understand it.
Bloody oath. And anyone that's listening that just wants to reach out to us, ask us questions about it, we're still learning, as we said. So happy to engage in that and
totally.
get around this drop that's coming soon. We haven't set any dates or anything like that, but it's still all a work in progress, but it's coming amazing, and I can't wait to see what you do.
I'm excited. Thanks for believing in me and believing in this
bloody
process.
Oath. Bloody awesome. Oath. I think you're going to smash it. So there'll be a fair bit on Instagram going on, and Twitter and things like that. So follow her and just jump in her Discord and just be there. Be there for what's to come. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you. Thanks so much.